right. Hello, everyone. I'm Sam Lauk. I am the Director of Operations for Client Success at Engaging Networks. I have worked for the company now for about 5 years and have my roots on the support team, primarily working out of North America. And then prior to working at Engaging Networks, I worked for a children's literacy nonprofit in the States doing fundraising. And so we're going to have a look at some of the tools that are available in Engaging Networks to help bolster your fundraising program. So the first thing we're going to have a look at is a feature called one-click donation pages. So this is a feature that allows your supporters to donate to your organization again without needing to re-enter their credit card information. It's a component type page, so it's not a page builder page, but it's a component page that you associate with like your regular donation page. And then you can kind of see the basic flow here. If supporters come to that page from an email and they've previously given to your organization, and we have tokenized payment information stored for that supporter, they will be served the one-click page. If they're not a donor, or if for whatever reason they don't have tokenized payment information, they'll just be served the regular donation page. There's also an option that we'll see just in a minute for one-click pages to navigate to the regular donation page. So say the supporter didn't want to use the same credit card that they previously used. If they wanted to update any other information, there is an option and a link to take them to the page builder page to update that information. In terms of actually building out a one-click page, like I said, that is going to be a components level page. So if you're familiar with the platform, that's going to be under Pages, Components, Web Pages, and then the type is a one-click page. There is limited information that you can include on a one-click page. So, the entire idea is to kind of, reduce what a supporter has to provide on that page. So you can insert supporter data. So that's things like name, address, things like that. Card details. So that allows you to reference the card that will be charged for the supporter. There are social sharing options. And then there's that link that would take the supporter to the page builder page as well. And then, of course, you can also insert the donation ask string, so the amounts that you want to have available for the supporter to donate. Once you've built out your page, you would then need to associate it with your actual page builder donation page. And so you're going to do that in the donation settings for that donation page. So it's the same place where you're going to assign the payment gateway to the page builder page. You would, once you have a one-click page available in your account, you will see an available drop-down to assign that one-click page to the donation page. So in terms of like the supporter journey, the user journey, supporters do have to come from an email in order to be served a one-click page. And so I tried to kind of demonstrate that with this. We'll see how it goes. So this is like an example email, that we sent to our supporter, and we want them to, support the Human Fund. And so we're going to click it. And so this is an example of a obviously very basic one-click page. So very limited information on this. The supporter would simply, select the amount they would like to give. Here we've just noted a little bit of information about the credit card that will be charged. This is the link that would, allow the supporter to change that card or, for whatever reason, go to the regular donation page. But just with the information here, I'm just able to submit. And then I'm taken, this is basically page 2, or the thank you page of the page builder page. So as you can see here, it just tells me thank you for my $50 gift, and I didn't need to re-enter any of that information. If we went back to page 1, this is what a non-donor would see. So they would be served just this regular page, page builder page instead. Okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to have a look at is a feature called Next Suggested Gift. So this feature allows you to display a custom ask string to supporters based on prior giving to your organization. You can use a supporter's highest previous contribution or most recent contribution to define that next suggested gift number and then build a string around it. If we go to the next. In terms of setting up next suggested gift, it's actually the first thing you're going to need to do is actually enable the feature. So that's like an account setting. So hello, account settings, previous contribution. And you would want to enable the feature. And then once the feature is enabled, you then need to determine what data the platform should use to define a supporter's highest previous contribution or most recent contribution. So you can use data from Engaging Networks. So that's like real transactions from your Engaging Networks account. Or you can also choose to import data. So maybe you have data that you want to import from offline donations. You can choose also to use that. If you choose the option for Engaging Networks transactional data, you will also be able to define the time frame for when transactions should be referenced, as well as the transaction types. And so you can toggle on and off different page types. So maybe, for example, you have the events module, but you don't want those transactions to be considered in a supporter's highest previous contribution. You can toggle those types on and off. Once you've actually then enabled previous contribution, you would actually be able to build out the next suggested gift component. So that is, again, a page component. So it's going to be under pages and components. And you can see here a bit, but basically you're going to define the next suggested gift using either HPC or MRC, and then you can build the string out around that value. And so in this case, we have a highest previous contribution plus 100%, so effectively doubling the highest previous contribution is that next suggested gift value, so that's this value. And then we've built out additional amounts around that. Once you actually build out your ranges and have created that component, you would then need to actually apply it on your page. And so on a form, you would edit a form block, and then in the donation amount field, we'll have an available checkbox to enable next suggested gift, and then you would also be able to select your, the string that you just created in the components section. Obviously, supporters would need to have a value for highest previous contribution or most recent contribution to be served the next suggested gift string. And they'll see that custom string on the page. And then also to note, it can also be used in emails. So you can have text in your email that says something like, would you consider giving, and then that custom NSG value. And then that can be linkable text that would take them then to the donation page as well. In terms of user journey for next suggested gift, supporters can either come to the page from an email to be served that custom string, or they could also be coming from another Engaging Networks page via a daisy chain. So a lot of other folks have referenced the daisy chain in their presentations, and that is kind of one that I mocked up here. So we just have a option to sign a petition. We have a very simple petition page. And then I'm going to go ahead and sign the petition, and it's going to take us then to a donation page that has sort of been formatted more of like a thank you page. And we're asking them basically to share or also to donate. And then you'll see these are a custom ask string based on I think highest previous contribution of like 1,500 pounds. Another thing to note is that you can also support different strings based on monthly or based on recurring or one time. So that's something to note as well. You'll see those amounts update. All right, next thing we're going to have a look at is the upsell lightbox. So the upsell lightbox is basically a pop-up overlay that will be displayed to supporters after they have submitted a donation, and it can be used to ask them either to make their one-time gift a recurring gift, or it can be used to ask them to increase the amount of their recurring gift. For setting up a Lightbox, you would want to be on a page builder page, and then if you hover over on the right-hand side, there'll be a toolbar that pops out, and one of the available options is processing rules. Once you select that option, you'll then have the available upsell Lightbox there. And I would say a lot of the legwork has been taken out of it in terms of styling it and things. So there are some options, so you can choose what kind of upsell you want to display. So you can do, again, the single to recurring or the recurring increase. So one or the other or both. And then you can assign a picture as part of the Lightbox, and then you can choose if it goes on the left or the right side of the Lightbox. There are going to be 2 buttons available to supporters on the Lightbox. Basically, one that says, yes, I will upgrade, or no, I will not upgrade. And you can customize the text for both of those buttons. And then there's also just some generic text available that you can also customize there. In addition to kind of those more like styling type changes, and very similar to kind of the next suggested gift, you would also need to build out the range and suggestion rules. So this would basically be something like, if the supporter has chosen an amount of 100, upsell them this percentage amount. Customize it in that way. Once you've actually created the Lightbox on a particular page, you would then be able to it basically gets saved to the components library, and so you wouldn't need necessarily that Lightbox to have it share across different pages. The user journey for this one, so there's no requirement that the supporter come from an email or from a chained page for the Lightbox. So as long as they're meeting whatever range rules that you've set for the Lightbox, the supporter would be served the Lightbox. So in this case, we just maybe have a supporter going to your main donation page and clicking the donate button on your homepage, and then I've already filled out all of my information here, and I'm just going to go ahead and donate $100, and you'll see I get served the Lightbox. And so this is saying, yes, I would like to upgrade to a recurring gift of $30. There's also an option for no. There's also the option to just close out of this. And if I did something like that, it would just process. If I close the Lightbox, it will just still process my originally selected amount. In this case, I can just go ahead and hit yes. It's going to take a minute to think, and then just take us to the thank you page. So upgraded to a $30 monthly donation there. All right, and this is the last feature that we're going to have a look at, and it's relatively new to Engaging Networks. So it's direct debits. So that allows you to accept donations from supporters that are taken from their bank account. It can help with retaining those recurring donors because their bank information is a lot less likely to change, whereas their credit card information might change more frequently. And then setting up direct debits. So our most, robust support for direct debits is with the Stripe payment gateway. And just noting here that it does require some configuration in Stripe. So there are some settings that you need to configure prior to using it in Engaging Networks on the Stripe side. And in terms of what to add to your Engaging Networks pages, the payment type is noted here. So you would need to have that as an available payment type. And then in addition to all kind of the regularly required recurring gift fields for credit cards, so things like recurring payment, recurring day, recurring frequency, there's also a field called recurring start date that can be used for direct debits. And it just indicates to the supporter when they want their bank to be debited. And so it's really when Stripe would kind of initiate that transaction. But I guess what we've seen is that it can sometimes that's when the transaction is initiated, but the supporter wouldn't see it come out of their bank for maybe a couple days after that. Another somewhat new feature that we added, you can configure notifications for the supporters in the gateway settings. So there's sort of two different ways that you can do that. The original way was that Stripe would send notification each time the transactions were processed to the supporter. And that was, it's a little bit less configurable. You can't necessarily apply your own branding and things like that. And so I think in our last release, we added an option in the gateway settings where you can configure that notification to come instead from engaging networks, and you can apply your own branding and things like that. And that notification would just send once at the sort of the start of the recurring payment. All right, and then just for the last one, just a note for direct debits, the supporter would start on the Engaging Networks page, and then they would be taken to Stripe to fill in their bank information, and then once they submit that, taken back to the Engaging Networks thank you page. And so I didn't trust myself to do this in real time, so I did a video for this one. And we'll try to get that playing. And so this is just demonstrating kind of that start date option that's available here, and I filled out all my information. This is now Stripe, where you would the supporter would fill out that information on the Stripe side, and then go ahead and confirm, and then they're taken back then to the Engaging Networks thank you page. All right. All right, that is it. I'd be happy to answer any questions or provide more clarity on anything. So.
That was great, thanks, Sam. We've got quite a few questions. So should we rattle through? We've got
Let's go easiest to hardest.
Okay.
No,
Okay, so someone just wanted clarification. What is tokenized payment information? And would a supporter need to opt in to have their details tokenized? Do you want to just clarify what you mean by token?
Yeah. So that is a process that happens on the payment gateway side. So Engaging Networks doesn't store any credit card information, but we pass that information to the payment gateway, and they basically create like an encrypted token associated with the card, and then pass that information back to us. And so then we can use that token to then charge that credit card again. There isn't a way for supporters to either opt in or opt out of that process. It's just how it works currently.
Okay, can you use a mixture of data for the highest previous contribution, e.g. historical data prior to migration, and then Engaging Networks gifts going forward?
It's an either-or situation. So, I mean, you may be able to maybe choose that import option and then, combine that with like maybe exported Engaging Networks data, but you only have the two options of using Engaging Networks data or imported data.
Cool. Would a one-click page work as part of a daisy chain? E.g., if they sign a petition and redirect to a one-page donate, could that be one click?
It doesn't work with a daisy chain. It only works coming from an email. Unsure why, but.
If you don't use Engaging Networks as your CRM, can you preload the Engaging Networks system with previous behavior to be able to do next suggested gift?
With previous behavior. Yep, you can do that. So you just basically need a import file that has, either highest previous contribution or most recent contribution amount, the currency, and supporter email address. How could I forget?
Cool. Someone's asked, just for clarification, what is a lightbox?
It's a very deep question. No, I'm just kidding. In this case, the lightbox is, it's just like a pop-up overlay that's displayed to the supporter after they make a donation. Yeah. Or try to.
And where is the credit card details stored for one-click pages?
So yeah, again, Engaging Networks doesn't store any credit card information, and so that your payment gateway would have that, and we would just be referencing that encrypted token to process the gift.
Do you have any stats on conversions from upsell lightboxes?
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there is reporting available for lightboxes. So you would be able to see the number of supporters that were, or I think it's the number maybe of pages where it's being used, the number of supporters who have been served to the lightbox, and the number of supporters who have converted from it. And so that might be some information that you could get from your account.
With one-click donation pages, what happens when someone is clicking on an email for the second time?
They shouldn't be served the one-click page. So it works very similar to like supporter data being preloaded on a Engaging Networks page builder page. It's only going to work on the very first click from an email.
And last question, are there any plans to add one-off gift amount upselling to the Lightbox functionality?
Is Marta in the room? No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know of plans, but I think I've heard of other clients requesting that, and so that's certainly something that we can sort of take to the product team.
Amazing. So that was it from Slido, and we are bang on time. So yes, there's the Slido code if you haven't sorted that out yet. So thanks, Sam. That was great. And great, excellent support.
Thank you. Thank you.